Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our math update. First, all students on Monday will be taking their mid-year STAR assessment. This is very similar to the iReady test that they took this morning. So if they could bring headphones, that would be super, super helpful if they have headphones. If not, we have some pairs here we can use. But if they could bring their own, that would be helpful. And that is in both math and math 6 classes, all my classes. Right. Next week, math 6, we're going to continue with our division. We're going to throw in some decimals now. So we've been doing division with just whole numbers just to make sure we all know the standard algorithm for long division. Next week, we're going to start with some decimals in those numbers. All right. Math 6 plus, they have their first major of the quarter on expressions and equations. That is going to be on Tuesday after we take our STAR assessment. After that, we will continue our Unit 7, and we'll start talking about equations and how we solve equations algebraically, how we solve for those variables or those unknowns. All right, so that'll be our week next week. Have a great weekend. See everybody on Monday.
Hi, OWL families. It's Mrs. Pedersen with your ELA updates for the week. We are continuing our study of World Without Fish. This week we did a lot of practice with text-dependent questions and writing down gist notes. Next week we're going to shift our focus. We'll be focused on the author's point of view and how the author conveys his point of view. So looking at specific words that convey specific tone to present his argument to readers. Next Friday, we will have our end of Unit 1 assessment. And the following week, starting on Valentine's Day, we will begin reading the novel Flush by Carl Hiaasen. Have a great weekend.
Hello, owls. I can't believe someone has not noted this owl dancing on top of their heads while speaking, which is quite amusing. However, next week this is week 3 for us next week. It's our third and final week of plate boundaries. We've dug into the different types and what they've done, different landforms made. And next week, we're going to finish off with a Where in the World activity where kids are going to be researching one particular landform based on a famous landform and extending that. We're going to break that into multiple activities on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be doing circulation in the library with the science activity. We're going to focus on earthquakes and volcanoes near the end of the week. And we're going to focus on the major events that happened in Japan several years ago, which included a earthquake and a tsunami. We're going to talk about what happened in that part of the area and why that happened. Other than that, have a wonderful weekend.
All right, Owls families, let's talk a little bit about social studies. You might have noticed that I was peeling vocabulary words off the wall, but Miss Pedersen was talking, but ignore the man in the back. So we've been talking about in social studies, we've been talking about types of government. So we've been talking about autocracy and monarchy versus dictatorship. We've been talking about oligarchy and aristocracies versus theocracies. We've been talking about the different forms of democracy, republics, and direct democracies. And starting on Monday, we're going to get into the idea of citizenship. What makes somebody a citizen in the ancient world, and what are some of the rights and responsibilities of citizens, both in the ancient world and a little bit compared to today as well. We'll talk a little bit about civic participation, or the participation of the citizenship as well next week. When we're done with our kind of section on citizenship, we are going to talk about some ancient systems of laws. So we're going to talk about like Hammurabi's code and the law system, which sometimes is remembered as an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We'll talk about the Roman 12 tables of law. We're going to talk about Justinian's code from the Byzantine Empire. And we're going to talk about Magna Carta, that 1215 document that King John signed that started to take power away from the monarchy. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And that's going to take us probably 2.5 to 3 weeks of unit time. And then when we're done with that, we will start talking about economics. Okay. So if you have any questions, you let us know. In social studies, there are going to be 3 grades in the grade book after this afternoon when I put the third one into the grade book. So have students check their Power School. If you, yeah, Mr. O just said he has 3 as well. If you don't have Power School access on your own device, then have your student open up their device and get PowerSchool up this weekend and kind of see what's happening, because we're still early in the quarter, so we don't want anyone starting to fall behind right away. So check in with them, see what their scores are. If you see a 0 or an orange box, that's telling them they've missed something for some reason, and we're asking them to finish it. If you have questions, let us know. If not, have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.